On an ordinary evening, the regular hustle and bustle of a Costco superstore in Corona, California, was transformed into a chilling scene of confusion and terror. This is the story of how an everyday grocery run turned into a horrifying ordeal. The superstore, typically symbolizing the monotony of daily life, was suddenly transformed into a maze of aisles filled with panic-stricken shoppers. The usual sounds of chatter and shopping carts were abruptly drowned by the terrifying blasts of gunfire. Customers, regardless of their age, were caught up in the chaos, running for their lives, hearts pounding with fear. Some made desperate dashes for the exit, their minds fogged by adrenaline and fear, while others, frozen by the sudden terror, sought safety by hitting the floor. As the gunfire echoed through the superstore, dozens of frantic 911 calls were made. Dispatchers, trained to handle such crises, worked diligently to calm the callers while swiftly mobilizing emergency services. As first responders raced to the scene, the details of the event remained unclear. The initial reports were chaotic and disjointed, reflecting the terror of the moment. The only certainty was that a horrifying incident had occurred at the Costco store. As the shoppers were evacuated and the injured rushed to hospitals, a horrific detail emerged from the confusion. An entire family out on their routine shopping trip had been the target of this unimaginable act of violence. The identity of the shooter was still unknown, adding another layer of fear to the nightmare. The patrons who had come for a routine trip to the store were left struggling with the reality that they had just narrowly escaped death. Amidst the panic and fear, one dreadful fact was evident: an entire family had been singled out. What had begun as a typical evening at a Costco superstore had morphed into a scene ripped straight out of a crime thriller. But this was not fiction. This was a stark, horrifying reality that unfolded on a seemingly regular evening. In the turmoil of disaster, the swift action of emergency services emerged as a beacon of hope. As the deafening noise of gunfire reverberated through the superstore, the first responders were immediately mobilized. Despite the fragmented information streaming in, they were ready to brave the unthinkable. This league of extraordinary men and women trained for extreme crisis situations descended on the scene with unparalleled speed. They adeptly navigated through the tumultuous situation, laser-focused on their mission to preserve life. Immediate medical aid was dispensed to the injured family. These innocent victims, who were merely conducting their routine grocery shopping a moment before, found themselves engaged in a battle for survival. In spite of the horrifying scenario, the first responders acted with impeccable precision and unruffled calm, providing immediate medical assistance and swiftly transporting the victims to the closest medical facility. Their urgent response and commitment to their duty stood as a testament to their professionalism. Amid the ongoing life-saving efforts, the unharmed perpetrator was escorted away from the scene. In a shocking twist, the shooter turned out to be an off-duty officer of the Los Angeles Police Department. The individual who designed and implemented this disturbing event was not an anonymous, faceless offender, but someone trusted to uphold the law and maintain peace. This revelation sent a shockwave through the community, sparking a storm of confusion and disbelief. A person entrusted with the power to defend and serve was now in the heart of a horrific crime scene. The officer, seemingly just another customer, had switched from shopping to shooting in an instant, transforming a peaceful supermarket into a nightmare. Trapped in the crossfire was an entire family, their lives abruptly disrupted by a hail of bullets. The scene that transpired was baffling. As emergency services scrambled to save lives, the shooter was calmly escorted from the premises, uninjured, unaided, and seemingly unaffected. This stark contrast sparked a flurry of questions. Why was the officer allowed to leave without immediate arrest or questioning? Was his law enforcement status influencing this apparent leniency? As the community wrestled with these questions, law enforcement agencies were left scrambling to piece together the puzzle. The officer's actions that night were not only a dereliction of duty, but a betrayal of public trust. A trust now as shattered as the once peaceful ambiance of the Costco superstore. This incident was a stark reminder that crime does not discriminate. It reinforced the importance of accountability, particularly for those in power. An officer of the law, pledged to serve and protect, was now the primary suspect in a horrifying crime. The repercussions of this incident forever altered the community's perception of law enforcement, leaving a lasting, transformative impact. As the dust settled, the task of unveiling the details of that fateful night commenced. The aftermath of the unimaginable incident was a tempest, a haze of alarms and astonishment. Now, the daunting task at hand was to comprehend the incomprehensible, to decipher the reason behind the occurrence. Investigators dove into the process, meticulously scrutinizing the crime scene, gathering every shred of evidence. Each spent shell, each of a bullet, each speck of blood carried with it a slice of the enigma. Forensic gurus examined each piece painstakingly, aiming to recreate the order of events. Meanwhile, witness testimonies were collected, forming a varied patchwork of perspectives from those who lived through the night of terror. Some had been close to the epicenter of the incident, having seen the assailant approach. Others had been at a distance, their narratives influenced by the ensuing chaos and panic. The daunting task was to integrate these differing accounts into a cohesive motive. That elusive reason remained cloaked in the fog of uncertainty. What could provoke a seemingly law-abiding police officer, a sentinel of the public, to commit such a heinous act? The investigators left no stone unturned, delving the shooter's past, his relationships, his psyche. Each disclosure added a new level of intricacy to the unfolding picture. Simultaneously, the media swooped down upon the story, with headlines broadcasting the crime. Journalists dissected each facet, each twist in the investigation, their narratives stoking the fires of public speculation. The public's reaction was a cocktail of fury, dread, and sorrow, further fueled by the relentless media spotlight. Social media platforms hummed with conjectures and views. Some extended condolences to the victims, their lives prematurely ended in a supposed place of safety. Others probed the shooter's actions, his decisions, his justifications. As the investigation gathered momentum, the gears of the legal process started turning. The shooter, now a defendant, was under the heavy scrutiny of law. Aided by lawyers, prosecutors, and defense attorneys, the search for justice had kicked off, a meticulous journey through the maze of the legal system. They spectated, waited, and wondered. What led to this incident? Were there any preventive measures? And what did this reveal about the society we belong to? Each question mirrored the collective quest for understanding. Amid the media chaos and public discourse, the victim's family, still grappling with their loss, sought answers and justice for their departed loved ones. The investigation, media, and public response all constituted parts of a larger puzzle, a narrative of a catastrophe that had rocked a community to its roots. The For Justice was in progress amid a sea of lingering questions. As we probe deeper into this case, we aim to illuminate these questions, to unravel the mystery surrounding this heartbreaking incident. The path is long and winding, but it is a path we must tread in the pursuit of truth and justice. The community's response in the wake of the tragic event at the bustling Costco supermarket in Corona, California, was one of resilience and unity. Amidst the shock and grief that enveloped them, they sought answers and understanding from the horrific incident that left an indelible scar on their fabric. An unforeseen act of violence, perpetrated by an off-duty LAPD officer, shattered their tranquility, adding a layer of complexity and confusion. As the realization set in, the community collectively rose to the challenge. Driven by shared pain and a resolve to ensure such an event never repeats itself, they embarked on an arduous quest for justice. Sparking a flurry of debates and discussions, the incident prompted them to question the safety and trust placed in law enforcement. The tragic event was more than just a crime. It became a catalyst for change. It prompted calls for stricter gun control, better mental health support for officers, and increased accountability. It stirred conversations about systemic changes that needed to be implemented and set a reminder of the work that lay ahead. Yet, amidst the turmoil, the resilience of the community shone through. Candlelight vigils and tributes became symbols of their unity, and support systems emerged like beacon lights in the darkness. There was an outpouring of empathy and love, a silent vow to honor the victims by striving for a safer, more compassionate world. Investigations continue. Stories are being shared, and the painful truth is gradually unfolding. This journey, though far from over, has united the community in their pursuit of justice. Their plea resonates in quiet corners of Corona, in the aisles of the Costco store, and in the hearts of those who remember, serving as a constant reminder that peace will only be restored when justice is served and closure is found. The resilience of this community in the face of tragedy is a testament to their strength and their unwavering commitment to justice.